Hello, people of YouTube. My first attempt at a video here. Who am I? I'm Jeremy. No one special, just dude who works in radio and wants to be able to talk about sports a little bit more than I do. And so I've been doing Facebook groups for a number of years and some different ones. I run a Facebook group called Southern Sports Focus, and that's what I'm calling this feature as well. Kind of stick with that brand. And we'll see how it goes. But I love to talk sports, especially college football. I am an Alabama fan. I will put that full disclosure out there right now. But I like talking about college football, and I like talking about sports, and YouTube seems a great place to do that, so we'll give it a shot. Hope you subscribe, hope you enjoy, and we'll just see how it goes. So what I want to talk about today is a few things that have been happening over the past couple of days. The first off, the AP poll was released this week, and the coaches poll last week, and a few thoughts on this. First off, when are people going to realize that this is not worth getting worked up over? My team is too low. That team is too high. Why isn't my team ranked? Who cares? When the Coaches Bowl was announced, much was made for the first time in history in week one. We will have number 1 versus number 2, Texas versus Ohio State. My reaction to that? Meh. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm excited about that game. There is a lot to love about it. You have Arch Manning making his first full-time start as the full-time starter for the Texas Longhorns. You have the game at Ohio State, one of the great venues in college football, the Horseshoe. And so much to love about this game, SEC versus Big Ten, week one, a game that even this early could have playoff implications. We don't need artificial rankings to make it any more hyped than we already are. The polls are useless. The coaches poll has not been part of the formula for the national championship format since 2014, since the playoff began. The AP poll, they, in their quest to become morally superior and not be part of the corrupt BCS system, not the exact words, but you get the idea of what they said back then, 2004 is when they backed out of the BCS. So why do we still care about these polls? They're kind of good discussion fodder at times. I mean, and who doesn't like to see their team highly ranked? I get that. But neither poll is a factor in the determination of the playoff field. One hasn't been for 20 years. One hasn't been for over a decade. So, yeah, again, they're kind of fun. But the actual meaning beyond that, the only meaning they have is what we as fans give it to them. Now, I know the coaches, they have fun with it. The media, they think they have to still be relevant in this whole discourse. And so I get why they do them, but they're pretty much useless. And no one who is real really pays attention to them. And what I mean by that is the people who make the lines, the betting. There's some national championship odds that have been released this week. And Auburn, a team, is 60-1. They're unranked in both polls. 60-1 chance of winning the national championship. That's better than 9 teams that are currently ranked, including South Carolina. South Carolina has the 17th best odds, tied for 17th best odds to win the national championship. Auburn is at 16th. These polls are not a determination of anything where it really matters. Not the playoff format, not the betting lines, not anything that college football fans really should pay attention to. It doesn't matter in either of them. And so I think they just need to go away. I think we've given too much credence to them for far too long. And like I said, we don't need artificial numbers to add to the hype of these matchups. Everybody knows what a big game Texas and Ohio State is going to be without saying preseason number 1 and number 2 going at it. Of course, they're number 3 in the AP poll, Ohio State is, but you get what I'm saying. I think it is way time for us to do away with the polls. But speaking of number 1 versus number 2 and that early season matchup, are we overrating Texas and Ohio State a bit? Now stick with me. Don't give me the hateful comments or anything like that. These are teams that are playoff contenders. I think that they are. But they're not as strong as many think, or at the very least, they have a lot of unanswered questions that people really aren't talking about. Texas is dead last in the SEC and 126th in the nation in returning production, and that is with a new starter at quarterback. The defense has high expectations, and the offense has added a couple of pieces via the portal, but this offense has a lot of questions. They're having to replace a lot of the offensive line. A couple of their big receivers are gone. They do have a couple of weapons returning back in the running game, but again, there are a lot of questions to be answered on the offensive side of the ball for Texas because we still don't know how good Arch Manning really is. And people are just glossing over them, and that probably has to do with the last name of the quarterback. Again, I think Texas is going to be a good team. Would not shock me at all if they're in the playoff, but I don't know if they're the best team in the country. Of course, who knows who is right now, going back to my kind of earlier topic there. But yeah, I just don't know. I have a lot of questions about them. At Ohio State, kind of looking like Julian Sain will be the quarterback, but that will be a new starting quarterback. And it's for a team that is 92nd in the nation in returning production. Overall, offense and defense, 101st in returning production. Add to the fact that Ryan Day's team has new coordinators on both sides of the ball. That is a lot of new. Now, to be fair, Ohio State has a lot of talent. Their new OC was promoted from within, with Brian Hartland getting the OC stripes after several seasons in the program as the wide receiver coach, an established NFL presence in Matt Patricia as the new defensive coordinator. So there's still a lot to like about Ohio State, but there are a lot of questions. Now, I'm not predicting doom and gloom or there's going to be some kind of great meltdown for either. Both have a great shot at least making the playoff. But you can point out some major questions in just about every supposed playoff contender. But there's some potential issues for these two teams to navigate that I just haven't really seen them being talked about. And then there's this. John Mateer, quarterback at Oklahoma. It was reported last night that he has gambled on football. A Venmo account, USC versus UCLA, supposedly betted on some game in 2022. Now, what's come out in the last few hours is the bio of the guy, Brian Aguada. Maybe I'm pronouncing that right. Maybe I don't care. Brian Aguada or whatever. That account claims that you're an insider for Deadspin and senior journalist for Valley News Live, which is based in Fargo, North Dakota. Now, Gamble first reported Tuesday morning, he is a Sooner insider, that he spoke to someone who worked at Valley News Live for 2 years, and the source was not familiar with the name attached to the account. After even more digging, the Sooner insider found that the profile picture from the account matched a headshot of former Northeastern hockey player Zach Aston Reese. Neither names have been employees at Valley News Live. So, and this is just what we see now in sports journalism. The report comes out, it gets on social media, people jump all over it. The player or whoever is involved has to answer these allegations. Of course, John Mateer is denying them. Oklahoma says they're aware of what's going on. And there's probably going to be an investigation into it, maybe. But it's just as likely this could have been a disgruntled Texas fan looking for dirt, as maybe Oklahoma's going to be very improved and John Mateer's going to be a big part of that. Now, I don't know that for sure. That's just speculation. But, man, just what we see now as far as these reports and these rumors that kind of get reported as fact and how long it takes to clear them up, because that allegation's out there and you can't take it back. And hopefully it'll all clear up. Personally, I think it's a bunch of garbage, but off the off chance that's true, you've done some pretty big damage to John Mateer and his reputation, even if it's not true. So I wish that this stuff, that these networks and these blogs and these podcasts and all this stuff that's going on now in the world of sports journalism, that they would just take a little more care before really jumping on these kind of things. So those are my thoughts. 3 things I wanted to talk about today. As we go on this page, hopefully I'll be able to do more of this kind of stuff. Hopefully you'll enjoy it. Let me know what you think about the topics that I've commented on or that I've talked about in the comments, and have a great day, y'all. Thank you for watching.